Hello and welcome to the next episode of MX Live. In today's edition, we're going to be talking to Lee Stinchcombe. Hello, Lee.
Hello.
Welcome to the hot seat.
Oh, it is hot as well. It's boiling.
It's boiling hot, and you're going to have to direct me on the route today, mate.
Yeah, straight on down to mate. Straight on
down,
straight
yeah?
on.
Okay. Lee's taken me on as an ex-owner of an MX-5. You know all the routes, I guess?
Well, I would have thought you would have known the route, considering you've lived here all your life.
I never go this way. I always go down the ring road. It's easier.
We're taking a scenic route today.
Okay.
Enjoy the roof down experience.
So, Lee, if people don't know you, just tell us what you do, what you're up to.
What do I do? So I'm a part-time singer. Part-time musician, unlike you, who's a full-time muso.
Yeah.
I'm part-time. I work for a charity during the day, which is great fun. And when I feel like it, I tend to do some gigs. Current setup is Take That Tribute.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah. And you do Gary Barley, don't you?
Gary Barley, yeah, I'm Gary Barley. Yeah, that's me.
And you might recognise Lee because you were on the telly a few years back, weren't you?
Yeah, we try not to talk about it, if we're honest. It's too embarrassing. I have to live with that every day. Yes, I did have a little TV stint, which was good fun. Which was good fun at the time.
The experience must have been good, though.
Yeah, it was great fun.
You met some people, I suppose.
It was one of those where I never really thought I'd get past the first stage. Right, you want to go right.
We'll go right here, yeah.
Yeah, you know where we're going. Do you recognise it now?
Yeah, it feels like I'm heading back the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those where I never thought I'd get past the first audition, and then you're okay this way, and then somehow managed to blag it on to Saturday night on BBC One.
Yeah,
which was fun for all my friends to laugh at.
Yeah, it was a good experience, and you met probably some great people.
Yeah, there was some serious talent, some seriously talented singers and also dancers, which is obviously my forte, because as you know me, I'm a professional dancer.
Exactly.
Not.
So, who did you meet? Because obviously you had the judges at the time. I can't remember who they were. Was it Martin Kemp?
Martin Kemp, Gary Barlow, and obviously I met the other Take That boys, Howard and Mark.
Yeah.
And there was Danny Minogue and Amber Riley, who was in Glee and Dreamgirls on the West End and stuff like that. So she definitely can belt a tune out. So she's well within her right to be criticising my singing. Danny, maybe not so much. Straight over here, you definitely know where you are now.
I know where I'm going
right,
now.
There's the pub that I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So you always run it by the pub.
Okay. All right, I know where I'm going now, mate.
Okay.
We're good.
Right, you're on your own.
So, so talk us through, growing up for you in there. How was that? School and things?
Growing up was good, man. Like probably a lot of people, you don't realise what you've got at the time. You just kind of go along with it, and you wish time away to wanting to be a grown-up. And then when you're a grown-up, you wish you could go back. But no, I grew up in Bristol like yourself, and it was playing football. It was singing from probably about 15 and a half, 16 years old, in school with a band, and we were doing Oasis covers, and it was great fun.
Yeah.
And funny actually, I was listening to Oasis the other day in the car, and a song came on. It was I can't think what it's called now. It was an Oasis B track,
right.
And it will probably pop into my mind later on.
So not one of their popular ones.
Not one of their popular ones, no. And me and Steve, the guitarist, decided to set up Chris. You know Chris Needs, your drummer for. Do you know Chris Needs from?
I don't think I do.
What are they called these days? Levi Valentino.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what the band went on to be Levi Valentino, and so me and Steve had decided to wind Chris up and say, we'd written a song last night, so we started playing this Oasis song.
Did he recognise it?
He didn't have a clue what it was, and he's like, "Oh my God, boys, that is it. We have literally hit the jackpot. We've written a smash hit here." And as I was driving along, I just could picture his face, because he had this 7-year-old on Christmas Day opening a present look on his face, like, wow, we've unearthed a gem. Then we obviously had to let him down and tell him that it was actually a Noel Gallagher cover.
Don't you find it funny, how music can sort of remind you of certain memories?
Yeah, it's like you hear a song, you bang straight back. I've got a playlist on Spotify. Are we allowed to mention Spotify? Do we have to pay them money now?
No, you can mention
Spotify. But I've got a playlist of classic 90s songs from from growing up, and you know, like one song, for example, takes me back to playing on my NES. You know what I mean? Playing Home Alone 2, Lost in New York on the NES, and as soon as I hear it, I'm in the room there. I'm playing Home Alone 2, and I've got a Raspberry Pi now with all the games on,
right?
And it turns out I'm rubbish at Home Alone 2, so I don't really know what I was doing at the time.
Brilliant. And did you go off to college after school and that? Or
No,
I
kind of got asked to leave sixth form.
You got asked to leave?
Yeah. halfway through sixth form, I met a girl, and she's luckily my wife these days, so it's okay. But we didn't do much schooling then. We were just courting. Should we just say that?
Yeah,
we'll
that's
say
a good
courting,
word, yeah,
in case my daughter ever watches it. We were courting, so I got so far behind that the school decided it wasn't worth putting me in for the exam. So
what were you studying at the time?
I was doing art and design, which already is a DOS, isn't it? Let's face it. That's already the go-to. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to DOS around. Yeah, let's do some art and design. So I was so far behind. They said, right, you need to leave because we're not going to put you in for the exam. And at that point, Mum said, that's fine. You know, you're nearly a grown-up, or you think you're a grown-up at least. But if you're going to want to live under my roof, you're going to need to go and get a job, or go to college, or do something. So I decided I didn't want to do college, and I'm going to go and get a job. So I got a job working for a bank, and then spent 16 years.
Yeah, at the bank.
Being miserable working for a bank. No offence to anyone working in a bank, but it wasn't for me.
It wasn't for you, yeah.
No, I met some great people though.
But you were quite high though. You were a manager at the time, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, well, not exactly high up, middle management, I suppose. But yeah, I ran a team, and we had a great team. We had some great people, still friends with today. But the whole banking thing wasn't for me. So the opportunity to get out, I took it with both hands. Took some money and ran, and that's bought me a house and stuff. So I'm not complaining. And took a pension with me, all the boring stuff you need to worry about when you're a grown up.
Got to think about it though.
Yeah, got to think about it. So yeah, it worked out well, and from Mum's point of view, a wise move. And I'd like to think I'd take the same kind of stance if I was in that situation, you know, with my little one.
Yeah.
Of, you know, that's fine. You've made your decision. You know, you've got yourself in this situation. You kind of get yourself out of it, kind of attitude, and but you're not having a free ticket. and no, it's good because it makes you think, okay, maybe I do need to worry about myself. And then straight away you've got money coming in, so you do the usual thing. You buy cars, and you then buy another car, buy another car. You know how it goes, Rich.
Yeah, I do know how it goes. Yeah. I know that story very well.
Too well. And then you end up, I've still got a loan on that car. I better take that loan over with me. So you end up a little bit of debt, but that's all gone these days, you know. You pay it off as you go along. But you find yourself living in your overdraft. Then I move in with the wife, and she sorts that out straight away. And now I'm on a spending limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although allowance every month for you.
She's given me I've got an Amazon account, so that's the first mistake. That racks up.
Yeah.
I've just dropped Amazon in it. Do I got to pay them money?
Oh, you said Spotify and Amazon, mate. You may as well.
God.
May as well mention iTunes as well.
iTunes. No, iTunes is dead, isn't it? They've killed that.
Oh, it's Apple Music, isn't it?
Apple Music. They've killed it off. Get with the times, Rich.
It was dead actually.
I don't know anyone who uses iTunes. Do you?
No. And because you went into music full time for a bit, didn't you? I remember sort of.
Yeah. So when I left the bank and I didn't have a clue what I was going to do. It was like being 17 all over again, and us getting kicked out of school. Or 18 even. And I just did it because I knew I needed to get out. So I needed to get my head straight, and the opportunity to get out and try and find something else was too good to be true. So I kind of took it without really having a clue what I was going to do. Yeah. Which is a gamble when you're married with bills and stuff. So, but the wife luckily supported me through it, and the music was the obvious thing to do. It was we had the band, we had to take that band, which was bringing in a few gigs, and then I thought, well, let's do a solo show. So that's where the Gary Barlow kind of show came out of it. But my beef with it, and I suppose you know this, but being a full-time muso, for me who was a part-time muso trying to be a full-time muso, it was a bit of a lonely gig. I suppose you're a little bit different because you've got you've always got the band. Yeah, the difference is when you're a singer and you go out with backing tracks.
I suppose you were used to working for a team, like in the bank and that.
Yeah, so always surrounded by people, and then with the band there was always people around me, and being in bands for years and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like, right, I'm just going to go off at 3 in the afternoon to go and do a gig, and then I'll get home at 2 in the morning. It's all on my own. So I did that for 7 months, but it wasn't fulfilling because I was on my own and I didn't enjoy it. because everyone I knew was, apart from yourself, well, you were in the same boat, I suppose. You were working during the day, teaching as you were, but everyone else I knew was working in the day. I'm sat at home watching Jeremy Kyle in my pants, and then I'd go out in an evening when everyone else was actually around. So 7 months was enough, and then I decided to go and get a job in a school with my brother, because he's a teacher, and he said, why don't you try it out? So I did a bit of TA work for a little bit.
Was that rewarding? I imagine that was.
It was rewarding, but it turns out I don't like kids, and all they do is fart.
Yeah, okay.
So
and they find that funny as well, don't they?
It stank of fart all the time. But there is one plus side to kids, working with kids, is you can fart and blame it on them. So that is a plus side. Because in my office now...
in the car today, mate?
No, in my office, that's frowned upon.
Right.
If you fart.
Okay.
But in the school...
Normal.
You'd go, oh, Billy, was that you? Knowing it full well it was, it was me. Yeah,
that's like blaming it on the dog.
yeah. But that was one of the perks of being a teaching assistant. But it got me back to thinking I need to get a proper job, you know. So I took a part-time job then, working for the charity Milestones Trust. I'll drop them in it, since I've dropped Amazon in it.
You may as well, mate.
I might as well. And I took this part-time job, and it's turned into a bit of a career now. So I work. I still work part time. I do 30 hours, but it works well because I can look after my little one on a Thursday, and I'm kind of a big deal there.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I am anyway. They might disagree, but no, I enjoy it. It's rewarding. The best bit about it for me is that I put all my effort into it, and I see results. We probably just plunged into darkness then, didn't we? We were under a tunnel.
We did, yeah.
Wow, we're still there. So
effects.
yeah, so all of a sudden I kind of my crazy ideas and my out of the box thinking is kind of rewarded, if you will, at the charity, because they enjoy the wackiness and the out of the box thinking, because the bank was not quite so.
No, I imagine they're quite corporate and very stuck in their
It
ways.
was a bit too corporate, yeah, and it was like, yeah, that's never going to work, Lee, without even trying it. As where Milestones are like, well, we've got nothing to lose, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as long as it ain't costing them too much money because they're a charity, you know, my attitude of let's chuck enough at the wall, some will stick. Attitude kind of works, but you have to throw ideas out there for it to come off. Not everyone's a gold nugget, you know.
No.
But some have saved us some money, some have made us some money at the trust, so I'm obviously doing okay.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it, keep plugging away.
So you're still performing with the band and that?
Still performing, yeah, not so much with the solo these days because I don't need to.
No.
And it was, like I said, a bit lonely. But I was out actually last Saturday, which was a great gig, just outside Heathrow, and I as you know, I've written my car off, so I didn't have a car, so I had to hire a van.
Yeah, tell people about the story of that, mate.
What, with the car?
Yeah.
Well, it's not that exciting, apart from I'm a muppet and I drove into a van. Thanks for telling the world. No, it's one of those. You know, it could happen to anyone. I was just daydreaming. You know, I was thinking about getting petrol. I was thinking about getting the car washed, and then within 30 seconds of that, I don't need to wash the car because it's in pieces. But I had to hire a van, so I put my name down to hire a van. Only a little one, because I thought it's only me. Don't need much.
Yeah.
I turn up to pick it up on the Saturday, and they say, "Oh, it's good news and bad news." The bad news is your van's up on the ramp. The good news is we've got you a massive van. So it was just me with all the gear. I had to lie it all down in the back so it didn't move because I had far too much room for not enough gear.
Right.
But it was good fun. But it was just me again, so it wasn't as much fun as it would have been with the boys, you know. Don't tell them I missed them, but I did miss them. But no, yeah, the band are going strong. We got like quite a lot of people, I think, at the moment in the muso industry. It seems a bit quiet at the moment, but gigs are coming in for next year, which is good. We've got we're back in Yeovil in January for the Octagon Theatre, which we played last year, which is a beautiful venue, an actual theatre, which is quite nice, with unbelievable sound. You know, the acoustics in there are just unbelievable.
I imagine they got in-house sound engineer.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's spot on. And Dave, their sound man, not Dave our sound man, Dave their sound man. He actually knows what he's doing.
Every sound man's called Dave.
Yeah, I know. But he was unbelievable, and the sound was it was out of this world. It was effortless to sing.
Yeah.
Which, as you know, we've done gigs over the years, haven't we? Where you can't hear yourself. It's all not quite right. This was just
spot on.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. And to be honest, I had an in-ear monitor that night, but I only had one ear in, and I didn't take my moldies. I just went from the other ones, and I had one ear in and one ear out. I just took the fill from the side.
To be fair, mate, I spend most of my gigs like that.
Yeah.
I quite like one in the right ear to block a little bit of the drums out, because that's where it's the harsh cymbals.
So you want to soak the
stuff.
atmosphere, don't you?
Yeah, I want to sort of feel hear the crowd.
And so the moldies are great, but they do isolate you. I've done so many gigs now with the moldies where people are trying to talk to you, and you go, "Sorry, love, what are you talking about?
Again, yeah.
It's your birthday." What? And she's not saying that at all. She's saying,
play this song,
play back for
sing
good.
this, yeah.
Play back for good.
Yeah.
John, who's John? Yeah, so yeah, I'm moving a little bit away from that with the one in, one out kind of thing. Yeah. But it does depend on the venue, and that venue was lush. So yeah, we got some nice gigs booked in next year. We're off to the Isle of Wight with the boys for a little road trip. We thought we'd go out and get on the ferry, which is good fun. So yeah, take that's doing well, and it doesn't help being on the. It doesn't hurt. Sorry, it doesn't help. That's the wrong way. It doesn't hurt being on the telly a couple of years ago, because it means I can slap it all over the posters.
I was going to say, did you notice, like an influx
there was
of
there was a
bookings
little bit of a spike, and I saw the lady who booked me for the Heathrow gig actually had commented that she saw me on the telly and thought I was a cheeky chappy and all that kind of stuff, and thought, and once the agency had kind of put me forward, she was like, that's a no-brainer, because I kind of recognised him off the telly, and he was good fun. So my show is fun. The Take That show is fun, and that's the card we play. We take our sound seriously, like you boys do, but we know that we're not the greatest dancers in the world. We do an okay job on the dancing to get us through it.
But you dress up as well, don't you?
We dress up, we do the routines, but we also take the mick. Like, there's one dance, it only takes a minute, where it's a cheesy 90s song. So there's a bit in the middle where I do a very cheesy Running Man kind of dance, but 99% of the time, everyone out there watching starts joining in and doing the Running Man, and the other two start looking at me like, "What is he doing?" Yeah, and I love it, but I'm always out of breath after it. That's the problem.
It's a good bit of exercise.
I don't gym it anymore with you. That's
I was going to say to you, mate. I was going to ask you about your what? Do you still play football or anything?
Still playing football twice a week. Little one came along that killed off the gym, because obviously we were gym buddies, but the problem was, the guys at the gym contacted me and said, "You're too ripped, Lee.
Yeah.
You're scaring off.
Keeping everyone away.
You're scaring off. The membership's dropped as a result. Poor old Rich is struggling to keep up with you. So could you knock it on the head?" So I, unfortunately, because I did enjoy our gym sessions, but and it's amazing. After 2 weeks of no gym, you're like, oh,
it gets back,
flabby and but football twice a week, which is great fun. But I am starting to feel the pinch now at nearly 40.
It gets harder, don't you think, when you get
everything gets harder, and having a little one at home, waking up at 6 o'clock like this morning, but it's good fun. Life is good fun. I'm not complaining, because life hasn't always been fun, and I'm assuming I know one of your subject matter is mental health.
Yes.
In the whole point, music and mental health. So life's not always been fun.
Talk to us a little bit how you sort of keep on top of your sort of mental health and things.
Well, I've had dark times, like most people. I think they've had it, and they probably not everyone talks about it, but I've had counselling as a result to try and kind of get my head straight. A lot of it was around trying to have a family and not being able to have a family. So we took like 8 years. I'm not going to go into detail for that, because it's not fair on the wife and stuff, but we kind of did the whole IVF thing, and nothing worked. So we just struggled on like you do, and it kind of got to me in my head, and I became quite anxious, but I've always been a bit of an anxious person anyway, but there was no kind of solution, and I think that's the weird bit about it, is I think people go to counselling because they want kind of an answer, they want something to go, right, well that's it then, that was where I was going wrong, if I stopped doing that,
it's not that though,
I get my head straight, and it wasn't that, it was just talking about stuff. The learn from me was, it's okay to talk about it, and actually the more you talk about it, the better you feel, and then it was keeping fit and playing football and gymming and just staying positive. Another big move was leaving the bank. Yet again, no offence to anyone who works in a bank,
that must have created anxiety, though.
But everyone does what they've got to do, and I totally get that, and I do what I got to do to get by, But there was a big part of me that needed to get out to be happy, and I didn't realise it at the time how kind of miserable it was making me. But it was miserable. I was miserable because I just felt a little bit sort of stunted in my kind
That's
of
what I mean.
development in life.
If they weren't listening to your ideas and sort of stuff.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily that. I wasn't ambitious within it. I didn't see any roles that I was passionate about. I was like, well, this is it then. This is it now until I retire. And there were good times within it, and there was bad times, and there were stressful times, and there was fun times. You know, same as anything. But the reality deep down that it wasn't fulfilling me. So that was a big turning point. And I suppose my you know, and I watched your video the other day about you leaving Sainsbury's and all that kind of stuff. I got a bit bored halfway through, so I'll come back to it. I skipped forward to when you went to the gym with Lee.
That was the highlight.
That was a good bit. But it's the same kind of thing. You kind of plod along in life, don't you? And then all of a sudden, you kind of get a bit of a wake-up call, and you think, oh, actually, there is more going on.
Yeah.
There's no kind of answer from me of how I kind of turned it around. But I was anxious. I was in a space where, at one point, I had some very dark thoughts. But it was split second. It wasn't one of those where, oh dear Lord, he's going to jump off a bridge or anything. It was just like, what's the point of things, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of suffered with social anxiety, so I didn't really want to socialise. I didn't want to like being in big groups. Which I see Ed Sheeran's kind of come out with a similar kind of thing recently that he kind of struggles, which is ridiculous, isn't it?
It's strange though, because I know you quite well, but from my perspective, from Ever's perspective, you're quite an outgoing sort of person.
I think they're the ones, aren't they? They're the ones you got to watch for. Yeah. Ed Sheeran, like, you can get up in front of millions. Or thousands, hundreds of thousands, and perform because that's his comfort zone, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm a bit, I'm like Chandler in Friends, you know what I mean? We know, but you know when you watch Friends, you know Chandler it's all an act. You know it's an act. It's not really him.
No.
He always had trouble with the ladies, and but it was always an act. He'd crack a joke when he felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm like that, and I know I'm like that, and that's okay because that's the card I play.
Yeah. But it works, doesn't it?
It works in my gig life, my gig mode, because it's that cheeky chappy and outgoing nature. You need to be a performer.
Yeah.
It works at work that I'm sociable and I'm personable.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think people kind of get on well with me, and I get on well with people. But obviously, like most people, you need that other side of you. You can't be like that the whole time because you'll burn out. I think of poor old Robin Williams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of comedians are like, aren't they? Because they feel like they have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And
people expect them to be that way, don't they?
Yeah, and they meet them and they're like, oh, they're not.
No.
You know?
No.
And because it can't be like it all the time, because it's all an act. Them getting up on stage is an act.
Yeah.
That's a persona.
I was going to ask you, do you get nervous at gigs anymore, or do you not sort of feel that as much?
I think it depends on my mental state at the time, to be honest. If I'm totally honest, nerves are a thing if I'm not quite right in my head.
Do you get nervous at gigs, Lee, or do you...
Yeah, sometimes. It's one of those where it's... depends on your mental state, really. I had a gig a couple of weeks ago where for some reason I felt nervous, and I don't know why. Just before the gig I was like, why am I nervous?
Was it a bad day in particular or something?
Not particularly, no. And I think that is the bit about mental health that I think that confuses a lot of people, is that one, you can't see it, and two, it doesn't necessarily always affect you.
No.
So you can look like the outgoing person, and you can seem like you've got it all together, and that life is perfect and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But every now and again, it can affect you in a way that you didn't necessarily see was coming, and it just catches you off guard, really. And yeah, as a performer, as you know yourself, it's you've got to turn a performance in regardless of what's going on at home or what's going on in your head. But it's one of those where if it catches you unawares and you're about to go out there, that's probably how it comes out. Nerves.
Yeah.
That something's not quite right. You're not feeling great in your head and in the headspace, and how that kind of manifests itself is nerves. But
how do you feel a day after a gig? Do you get like some people are talking about this was like a gig hangover sort of thing, where you feel like you're buzzing and then you sort of come home and
you can see why performers turn to drugs, you know what I mean, and alcohol, because they want to keep it going,
keep that buzz.
There's not obviously, I'm not condoning alcohol or drug abuse, nowhere near it.
Definitely
I've
not.
never even smoked in my life, let alone done anything like that. But you can kind of see why they're trying to recreate the feeling they had from the night before or the night before that, or whatever.
Trying to keep it going.
They're trying to keep it going. So when you're touring and then you're not touring, it must be hard work. You have to find other things in life, and then they get themselves clean and they find yoga. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It's that kind of thing, but
Well,
they
it's
need
just like-
something.
It's at that level. You're playing in front of thousands of people, and all of a sudden you're home on the Monday walking the dog after a tour. Like,
Yeah.
it's not quite the same, is it?
It's one of those, but I'm normally exhausted the next day. I think I'm finding it.
Is that from the lifting and shifting, and obviously from the performing?
Lifting and shifting, and I'm a pent up ball of energy on a gig day. Even beforehand, I don't sit still. I'm like, I just want to get on with it.
Yeah.
So the next day, I'm exhausted because I've tired
Used
myself
all that
out
energy up,
for the day before. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know what you mean. There is that kind of highs. There's that bridge again. Highs and lows, yeah. What I tend to kind of do is just kind of think back about the gig and if it was good, and kind of. Just kind of dissect the gig a little bit in my head.
Reflect on each gig.
Yeah, reflect on it,
Yeah.
and think that was a good gig, or that was not a good. I could have done more. I could have done better. The sound maybe wasn't quite right, or the
That's what I
sound
was
was
going to say.
great.
Is it the sound that sort of makes a good gig for you, or is it just?
For me, it's all about the sound.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, like, from a singer's point of view, and I'm sure it's the same as a guitarist, because if you can't hear yourself, like if you're getting drowned out by your drummer behind you, or an animal banging away behind you. How do you enjoy it, because you can't hear it? All right, out the front might sound great, but
Yeah.
from a stage point of view,
That's
and
so
from
important.
yeah.
It's literally the make or break of a good gig for me.
From a singer's point of view, you need it because you can easily push it. You can easily push it. Like, I don't know how Matt, for all those years, has sung without a monitor.
Yeah,
now he's on it now, isn't he?
He's on it IEMs
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
He loves
Steve-
it. He's
Steve
like
was
literally a
saying-
different man. He sings differently as well.
Steve was saying, well, yeah, because he can hear himself.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he can sing.
His voice is so much better. Like,
Yeah.
it was good anyway, but
Yeah.
like so much better now. And you can tell when he sings, he's so confident in his vocals.
He's probably the tone of it, texture maybe on his
Yeah,
vocal
yeah.
has changed, because he can feel it all of a sudden, can he? That maybe before he couldn't, and maybe he didn't realise what he was missing.
I don't think he did until
No.
recent. And he sings Purple Rain, like, and it's literally just like makes my hair stand up.
Nice. But no, yeah, you need that, and you think back to the Beatles and the Stones. They wouldn't have had any of that tech. They would have just had massive monitors blaring back at them.
Yeah.
And they'd be deaf now, surely.
I think like IEMs, just like in-ear monitors. If anyone doesn't know what that is, just in case anyone's watching,
He's
not
such a
musician.
muser. He's such a muser. Oh yeah, the in-ear monitor. Yeah.
It just makes it much more consistent. From gig to gig,
Yeah.
it's consistent. I'm not, relying on a guitar cab to fire the sound at me, and it sounds different because I'm outside or whatever.
There's another thing. It speeds up that sound check. Oh.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And actually, one thing we've noticed from a take that point of view, because obviously we've got no instruments, we've got backing track and 3 live mics.
Yeah.
It's the live mics are the issue. When some venues, some stages, low ceilings, that kind of thing, will cause feedback with when you've got 3 microphones in close proximity like that.
Yeah.
But the in-ear monitors cut that out, because when you had floor monitors,
makes it even
there were
worse.
times where it was a cauldron. You needed to turn it up to hear yourself.
You couldn't, 'cause
over the crowd
yeah.
and out the front of house beaming back at you.
Yeah.
Off of beams or whatever. There's always a venue in there that you'll struggle with. That consistency for everyone, for you on stage, for the out the front is amazing, because it's reducing the amount of feedback we get, for example. And you're not damaging your hearing, because everything is at a level that you want it. And then when I first got mine, I don't know about you, I started off quite quiet, thinking, "Oh, this is nice."
Yeah.
And then I crept up, because actually you still want that feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still need it kind of
I was worrying
pumping.
the other day, actually. I was thinking, I got these because I wanted to save my hearing a little bit, but am I actually turning them up, like having loud headphones in your ears?
You do, but it's no different to when I'm walking the dog. I pump the tunes out in my headphones.
One thing I would say is I don't get ringing ears like I used to get the day after. I used to after gig, I used to get like ringing ears, and that's not great at all.
You'll end up with tinnitus when you get really old, otherwise.
It's not good.
No, so that, from your point of view, that'll keep you going.
What's going on there?
What's going on there? Why are you not invited?
Pull over quick.
Oh look, fellow MX5, hello.
You're supposed to wave. There's an etiquette.
Oh, he's gone.
There's an etiquette.
He's gone.
Some people do it, some people
We'll
don't.
wave on the camera.
Yeah, just wave.
Hiya. And then he can watch it back. And someone's singing. Hello. Tech's makes a hell of a difference, doesn't it, if you've got the right sound?
Yeah,
sound good. Yeah,
definitely. So Lee, thanks for coming along to MX Live. Thanks for coming
worries,
along
mate.
for a
Thanks
nice
for having
drive.
me.
So,
I'm driving next time, yeah?
You're driving next time, yeah?
Yeah, you trust me.
Yeah, thank you for coming, mate. And if anyone wants to see you when next gig, can they see you live at all?
No, I think they're all either private or miles away. So nothing local. I got a couple of gigs this month. One I'm in up Gloucester way.
Yeah.
And one I'm doing with Ross as Robbie. down in Tavistock, down in Devon. So yeah, so nothing local anytime soon. We've exhausted. They're all bored of us, the local guys.
And if they want to check you out on your website,
justtatethat.com.
Justtatethat.com. Great. Thanks very much, Lee.
No worries.
See you all again soon.
Yeah.
Cheers for now.
Cheers.